There is, they say, such a land, where rivers flow from the eastern slopes, intertwining like silver threads, and from the western slopes, meadows run down like green silk. On the southern side, the fields sway, and on the northern side, the curly forests rustle. The distance is endless. The expanse is boundless. Such a wide, shining land it is. There, bright lakes stand, and shadows are not visible. Green sedge. There, by the good mane, there will be a horse. And the willow will cover the whole horse, head and all. There, the cuckoo never stops calling. The dove coos day and night. The coot builds nests all year round. There is no winter there, just endless summer. Such a land. There are no nights, just endless days, a bright day. This is the earth, the sky there is very high. It stands on 9 supports, lies on 10 crossbeams, and beneath it, they say, lives a fairy tale. This is the kind of fairy tale that was said to exist in the world. A little old woman. One squirrel fur was enough for her to make her clothes. Her shirt was made from the belly, the back from the back, and from the hind legs. She made a bag, and from the front legs. One squirrel fur was enough for her to make her clothes. The shirt was made from the belly, the back from the back, and from the hind legs. She made a bag, and from the front legs. Gloves were made from the tail, and a hat. They say this old woman had 5 cows, mittens, made from the tail, and a hat. They say this old woman had 5 cows. One day, the old woman went to the green meadow to bring her cows home. And on the way, she pulled up a little horsetail plant. Not a single reed was broken, not a single root was damaged. She brought the horsetail grass home and placed it on the counter, and that counter is decorated with 9 rows of carvings, covered with the fur of a winter lynx. She placed it down and went to the barn to milk the cows. Suddenly, the old woman hears the bells ringing, clanging, and something clattered in the house, as if an iron knife had fallen. The old woman jumped up and ran into the house. On the way, she spilled the milk. She looks to the right, she looks to the left. Everything in the house is the same, as it was, so it is. And the horsetail grass lies there, just as it was. The old woman went back to her cows. She hadn't even finished milking half of the cows. She hears it again, stronger than before. It rang, it clinked in the house. It sounds like someone hit a tambourine, thinks the old woman. It sounds like a silver plate. Who dropped it? She jumped up again and ran into the house. Again she spilled the milk on the road. And the old woman opened the door and saw, on the left side of the counter, in 9 rows, decorated with carvings, covered with the moss of winter lynx, a girl of indescribable beauty sitting there. Her eyes shine like 2 chalcedonies. Her eyebrows are like 2 black sables running towards each other. Her delicate skin glows, revealing the blue veins flowing. The crimson blood quivers in her throat. The sun will rise and rejoice at the sight of her beauty. Crimson blood. The dark house will shine with her beauty. The sun will rise in the sky and rejoice at the sight of her beauty. The dark house will become bright, and the bright house will shine with her beauty. This horsetail grass has turned into such a beauty. What is your name? The old woman asks her. No, I don't have a name, the beauty replies. Golden sun, tender butterfly, beautiful Yukeiden. Here is the name I will give you, said the old woman. Stay in my house and you will be like a daughter to me. That's how it was, they say. And they also say at that very time, the son of the Honorable Khan Karakan, thank you. The young hunter Karchit Bergen went into the dark forest to hunt for game. Karchit Bergen sees a squirrel jumping from tree to tree in front of him. The hunter released the arrow. An arrow flew past. He drew his bow once more, missed again, and the squirrel keeps jumping further and further. All day long Karchit Bergen was tracking her, and the squirrel led him to the little old woman's house with 5 cows. The squirrel sat on the curly tree near the house, as if teasing the hunter. He took out his last arrow, drew his bow one last time, and missed again. And the arrow hit the chimney and fell into the house. "Hey, who's there?" the young man shouted. "Give me back my arrow." No one answers in the house. The young man got angry. His blood boiled. She hurried through the veins. The hair started to smoke and crackle. A flush of color appeared on his cheeks. A bold thought swooped in from the side. A daring thought jumped up from behind. A proud thought bumped into his forehead. He ran into the house. He ran in and froze in place, seeing the beauty. The hunter looks at her, unable to take his eyes off. There's no bold thought, no daring thought, no proud thought, none at all. Finally he came to and said, "You, pupil of my eyes, whiteness of my teeth, mistress of my heart, what is your name?" "They call me Golden Sun, Tender Butterfly. Beautiful is your name," the beauty replied. "No," the young man says, "they will call you my wife." And he ran out of the house. He jumped on the horse and raced through the dark forest at full speed. Hartshitbergen galloped into his village, leaving his horse untacked and tied up, and ran to his mother's father like a madman. One person burst into the house, but it felt like 50. "There is only one, a Shumugamu. That'll be enough for 80 people." One just like that, and he screams as if 90 people were talking all at once. Father, mother, is screaming. "I found myself a bride. Golden Sun, Tender Butterfly. Her name is beautiful Yukeiden. I won't take anyone as my wife, only her. She'll go with me, I'll take her. And even if she doesn't want to go with me, I'll take her anyway. Hurry up and get the people ready. Send the matchmakers or my heart will break." 9 of the best men rode on 9 horses to propose to the little old woman with 5 cows. They arrived, entered the house, and immediately it was as if they were all blinded. Unable to say a word, they stand there as if lifeless. Maybe the shining circle of the sun came down from the sky and burned their eyes. Did it burn their hearts? No, they saw the beautiful Yukeiden. Finally, the eldest stepped forward and said, "Old woman, will you give your daughter to the son, Kankarakan, to the young Harjit-Bergen?" "I will," says the old woman, "if she goes for him herself." "Beautiful one," says the elder, "will you go for the son of Honorable Khan, the young Harjit-Bergen?" "I will go," says the beauty. "Old woman," the elder asks again, "speak, what bride price do you want for your daughter?" "I want cows and horses, lots and lots of them. Gather, drive. Bring me so much livestock that the ground won't be visible under it. Then I will give my daughter's son, Golden, Tender Butterfly, the beautiful Yukeiden, to the son of Kankarakan." "All right, it will be as you wish," said the elder. The people of Kankarakan left. The next morning, the old woman stepped out of the house, but the green meadow was nowhere to be seen. The horned cattle and cows roam all the way to the forest, and the herds graze by the silver lakes. And Harjit-Bergen has already arrived, riding on his horse, and he brought a horse for the bride, Chubarova. Chubarova's horse is adorned all in silver. The harness on him is silver, and the bridle is silver, and the stirrup is silver, and the saddle is silver, and the whip is silver. Harjit-Bergen took the bride by the hand, stepped out of the house, and placed her on Chubarova's horse. "Let's go." Suddenly, Black Raven flies towards them and says, "Car." Open your round sensitive ears, Harshitbergen. With your keen eyes, look closely. With your mind like a deep lake, delve into my words. He's waiting for you on the way, Iron Jessenum. He plans to take your bride away from you. He wants to marry you off to his 9-humped daughter. Don't stumble before the strong. Don't falter before the mighty, and don't let the wicked take advantage of you. He cawed and flew away. The blood boiled in Harshitbergen's veins, and his hair smoked with anger. A proud thought bumped into my forehead. He held the horse and said to his bride, Golden Sun, gentle butterfly, beautiful Yukeiden. Should I fight Iron Jessenum? To overcome the strong, to defeat the mighty, to punish evil. But you go on alone? You'll reach the place where the roads converge, coming together, then spreading out in different directions. Where the sable fir hangs, turn your horse down that road. And on that road where the bear skin hangs, don't take a step. Make sure to remember my words. If you're saying that, how could I not listen to you, said Yukeiden. She thinks, I know I'm heading into misfortune, walking into torment. Trouble doesn't stray far from trouble. She sighed and turned her horse into the thicket. Trouble doesn't stray far from trouble. She sighed heavily and turned her horse into the thicket, a dark forest. And Harshitbergen rode on along the straight road. Suddenly he sees a towering mountain standing right in the middle of the road, reaching all the way up to the sky. And you can't climb up from below, and you can't go around it from the side. Harshitbergen looked, and in front of the mountain, it seemed like another mountain was rising. This is Iron Jessen, it's worth it. From his belly grows like a pest one iron leg. From his chest stretches one iron arm, writhing like an iron snake. On the top of his head he has 7 hairs, 7 iron needles. His iron tongue hangs down to his waist. His iron teeth stick out like sharp knives. He wears a coat made of iron, and a hat made of iron, and pants made of iron, and bags made of iron. Hello, human, he said to Harshitbergen, and his iron teeth clanged. I haven't opened my mouth, parted my lips, or moved my tongue in a long time. Listen now to what I'm saying. The outfit on you, your mortal attire, the horse beneath you walks with a funeral step. Your road, your farewell road. Now I will take you to my cliff. If you want, I'll take you. If you don't want, I'll still take you. I will humiliate your high name. I will tear apart your life. I will grind your bones. Then he turned to the rock and began to sing, howl, and speak. I, the master of this black rock, command you to open. I order you to let me through. Harshitbergen got angry. His face turned red like burnt clay. The golden hair stood on end. You are the deception of deception passing by. Listen, now you listen to me. I am not the kind of person to be scared of you. Let's see whose strength will prevail, whose luck will overcome. He threw down his bow. My arrow says, let the mountains not stop you, let the trees not hinder you. Don't get lost in the deep ravines. Strike Iron Jessen dead. Don't get lost in the deep ravines. Strike Iron Jessen dead. And as if thunder crashed, his thumb snapped, releasing the arrow. The arrow flew and struck Iron Jessen right in the chest. She split the monster in half, cleaving the stone mountain all the way up to the sky. The stone mountain parted in two, following the arrow. Harshitbergen raced by on his horse, and before his swift arrow could hit the ground, Harshitbergen caught it in mid-air and placed it in his quiver. Then he looked back and shouted, So, whose strength prevailed over Iron Jessen? You won't be able to open your mouth anymore. You won't part your lips. You won't move your tongue. Your clothes have become funeral garments. Your words were farewell. He said that and turned his horse towards where his home was. And his bride, the sun, golden, tender butterfly, the beautiful Yukeiden, rode through the dark forest on the Chubar wedding horse. She reached the place where two roads meet, come together, and diverge. She didn't look at where the sable skin was hanging. She didn't glance at where the bear skin was hanging. She forgot everything that Kashutbergen had taught her and directed her horse down the bear's trail. The bear trail led her to the iron yurt. The grass around the iron yurt is iron, the trees are iron, and by the entrance to the yurt sits a woman. She is scarier than scary. You wouldn't see anything like this, and you wouldn't hear about it either. On her back she has 9 iron humps. Her face is like a rough stone block, with a forehead like a mica window. One eye glimmers dimly. The mistress of the iron yurt approached the beautiful Yukeiden, and with her iron hand threw the beauty off the horse. Only the bones of the poor bride were left lying on the ground, while the iron one-eyed, 9-humped woman turned into the beautiful Yukeiden. She took the beauty of her face for herself. The wedding dress? She put it on herself. She jumped on the horse Chubari and set off on her way. She is riding along the wedding road. There, where the forest ends, the Kashutbergen caught up with her. They arrived together at the house. Father and mother, sisters and brothers, household members and servants. Everyone came out to greet the groom and the bride. The servants covered the courtyard with green grass so that the bride could step softly on the ground. 9 brothers, 9 cranes, from one flock, prepared so many arrows that the skin on their fingers came off. They thought that wherever the bride steps, Sable would run from under her feet. They will shoot them, they will present Sable to their new sister as a gift. 7 sisters, 7 doves from one nest, spun so many threads that their eyes turned red from the work. They thought that the bride would say a word, and golden beads would fall from her lips. Golden beads. And the bride got off the horse, trampling all the grass. She took a step, and the wolves scattered from under her feet. She spoke a word, and an iron city poured out of her mouth. Seeing this, the father and mother were deeply saddened. The brothers and sisters were half sad. The servants were a bit upset, for they do not know that she is not a bride, but a shapeshifter. They led the bride into the house, gave her 3 branches of young larches to start a fire, and the wedding feast began. Songs at this wedding. The wind sang. The hurricane led the dances. It was a gloomy wedding. Meanwhile, little old lady, she went out to the field to drive her cows home, and again she saw a little horsetail bush, such a beautiful bush that the old woman couldn't resist, and pulled it out of the ground. She brought it home, placed it on the counter, the one decorated with 9 rows of carvings, covered with the fur of winter lynx, and went to milk the cows. Suddenly she hears something clanged and crashed in the house, falling to the floor with a jingle. The old woman rushed into the house, and there on the left side of the counter, decorated with 9 rows of carvings and covered with the fur of winter lynx, sat her son, Golden, a delicate butterfly, her beautiful Kaiden. The daughter says to the old woman, "Why are you here and not in your husband's house?" The mother replies, "Beautiful one, no, I have a husband. He left me alone in the forest to fight the Iron Jessin, and I was ambushed by the 9-humped daughter of Iron Jessin. She took the life out of me. She dressed in my beauty, turned into me, and rode my wedding road, on my wedding horse to my fiancé's house, and I have become horsetail grass again. You wouldn't have pulled out that little bush. She said she would never meet with me." And indeed, rich pearls, like white hail, rolled down from her eyes. So they say it was. And Karjit Bergen lives in his house with his young wife. In a bright house it becomes dark. In a dark house the darkness thickens if she enters. She will glance, and the cold will freeze to the very heart. If she speaks, it will feel like being struck by a shard of iron. She looks at me and the cold freezes right to my heart. When she speaks, it feels like being struck by a shard of iron. One day, Karjit Bergen was wandering through the field, and in the field, the Chewberry horse was grazing. The horse approached him, shook its head, and suddenly started to speak. This horse was no ordinary one. It could talk like a human. The horse approached him, shook its head, and suddenly started to speak. The horse was no ordinary one. It could talk like a human with human speech. "Listen to me, master," said the Chewberry horse. "Listen with 2 round ears like a full moon. With your mind delve deep like a deep lake. Who did you take as your wife? Who have you brought into your home? Is this the sun, the golden, gentle butterfly? Is this her beautiful Yukeiden? Is this my mistress? Her beautiful Kaiden? Is this my mistress? Is this the daughter of the Iron Jason? Did she ruin my mistress? Did she take her beauty for herself? Did she dress up in her outfit? Did the shapeshifter enter your home? Tie her to the leg of a wild horse and let the horse loose in the field, so that not even the bones of the devil's daughter are left. And then go to the place where you found your bride. Maybe you'll find her again now. Maybe she'll come back to you. Maybe you'll find her now. Maybe she'll come back to you." Hearing this, the Karjit Bergen's thoughts began to smoke with anger. His blood rushed up and down his veins. He burst into his house. One person, but it felt like an entire army had burst in. "Alone!" he shouted, and it felt like the mountains had collapsed. "Alone!" He looked, and the high sky trembled with fear. He grabbed the devil's daughter, tied her to the leg of the wild horse, and let the horse loose in the field. She was here, and now she's gone. And Karjit Bergen jumped on his horse and headed there, where a little old woman lived, where he saw his bride for the first time. Golden sun, tender butterfly, her beautiful dress. He's riding through the dark forest and calling for her. If you're far away, come closer. If you're up high, come down. If you're down below, come up. Finally, he saw the little old woman's house. He stopped the horse and called for the hostess. The little old woman came out to him. "Why have you come?" she asks. "I've come for your daughter, for my bride," Karjit Bergen replies. "If you give it to me, I'll take it, and if you don't, I'll still take it. I won't leave this world. I'll ruin your home, darken your days, and take her away. Take me to the house. Don't delay the traveler. Don't keep the wayfarer waiting." The little old woman led him into the house. With eyes like those of a black foal, her beautiful dress looked at him. Her throat trembled like a silver string pulled tight. "Why did you come to me?" she says. "You left me all alone in the forest. You sent me to meet her, fierce death. You left me to be torn apart by the devil's daughter. Who are you looking for here now? Go away. I won't go with you." Karjit Bergen looks at her very tenderly. He says to her, crying and crying, "Golden sun, gentle butterfly, her beautiful dress. Did I want your death? Did I send you to your death? I left you alone to fight the Iron Jason, to save you from him. But you didn't listen to me. I traveled down the road where the bear's skin hangs. That's how the trouble happened." Here, even the little old woman started to cry. She sat down between them, like among little children, tears in her eyes. She pushed them away in both directions and said to them like this, "Listen to me and my words, do not approach. You lost each other and found each other again. We have escaped from trouble, from death, have been saved. Why are you blaming each other? Why aren't you happy looking at each other now?" "You're right," said the beautiful Yukeiden. "Your words are nice," said Karjit Bergen. Then they started to dance, jump, and laughed heartily, with the happiest laughter. They exchanged the kindest words and got ready to set off again. They recognized winter by the white powder, spring by the gentle breeze, summer by the rain, and autumn by the fog. This is how long we traveled? Finally, they arrived at Karjatbergen's house. The bride stepped onto the earth, and from under her feet, golden sables ran. She said a word, and golden beads fell from her lips. And everything is already ready in the house. For the wedding feast, it was as if a wide field had spread out. Such a table stands. On it are plates made of shiny silver, like the circles of icy lakes. Silver spoons, like shovels, to throw off the snow, and with silver forks, you could even sweep hay in a haystack. The jugs with drinks stand like a dense forest. The health cups rise like a mountain. They say that? People from all the Ulises gathered for this feast. They were here. The singers were here, plus there. Were jumpers and sprinters. Here the strong men competed in running. Here they measured their strength. The hungry one here was satisfied, the old man. The young ones celebrated for 9 days and 9 nights, playing songs of distant descendants, tales, and grandchildren. This is how the wedding went, they say.